We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right. The Big Cheese, baby. You got to work on that Big Cheese, the Big Cheese Supreme, the Meat Lovers Pizza, which is absolutely amazing. Those garlic rolls, the fried calamari. I mean, there's so many things. The Italian poppers. Their menu is absolutely awesome. The service is second to none. 40 years. When you've been around 40 years, you got to be doing something right. So go say hi to my guys, Gary and Billy and all the great people out there at the Big Cheese. All right, Manny, let's get into the Big Cheese report. Talk to me a little bit about Bryce Fitzgerald.
Really surprised that Miami ended up getting Bryce Fitzgerald. And I know he's a Miami Columbus guy, 4-star recruit, ranked number 130 in the 247 composite, I think the 12th best safety in the country. But surprised because when I talked to Bryce about, 3 weeks ago at a local media day event, he told me the two schools that were leading for him were Florida State and LSU, that he was going to go to pick one of those two schools. And I was very surprised when he picked Miami last weekend. Maybe not drop dead surprise because he does go to Columbus and we know how Mario Cristobal has connections there. But when the kid tells you, hey, it's really these two schools that I like the most, and then all of a sudden Miami ends up winning, it tells me something must have happened, right? Something must have changed his mind in the last, a week or so before he made that decision. And ultimately he picks the Canes. Now, look, we know recruiting is far from over. We know that until they sign on the dotted line in December, it's meaningless. But it was a big victory for Miami to get that kid to stay home. He is a big-time playmaker. 10 interceptions last season. Ball hawk. Reminds me a lot of Cam Kitchens in terms of just cerebral nature, playmaking nature, being able to read quarterbacks, step up in front of passes, pick them off, make big plays. And if you look at Miami's, 5 best recruits in this class, 3 of them are in the secondary. Hilton Stubbs from Jacksonville Mandarin, Jabari Antoine, the cornerback. Both of those guys are top 100 recruits. And then Bryce Fitzgerald's technically the 4th best one according to the rankings at safety. So they've loaded up in the defensive backfield in this class. They've got a lot of good players, 6 overall. I thought it was really important for Mario and those guys to address that position in this class, and they have.
All right. Good stuff there. Also, the other Big Cheese, talk to me about the Canes connections with O.J. Frederic, I think is how it's pronounced.
O.J. Frederic, yep, the cornerback from St. Thomas Aquinas.
The Pickett kid too, right?
Right, Booker Pickett and Elias Rudolph. Pickett and Rudolph are 2 of the best defensive line recruits in Miami's class. And then Frederic is the freshman that I've been telling you about for a couple of weeks. Lance Guidry, I asked him right on media day who he thinks among the freshman cornerbacks has a chance to play. And he said Frederic, that he's been doing everything he needs to do in offseason workouts against physical, older, bigger receivers in terms of being able to stay with them. Since camp started, I've had multiple people reach out to me and say, this kid is the truth. He is legitimate. He is going to contribute and he is going to play. So this week, Canes Connection announced those 3 signings. I think of the 3 of them, the one I'm most excited about right now, obviously, is Frederic, because I think there's an opportunity to play as a freshman at the cornerback position. Miami's cornerbacks, they had 2 of them, 2 of their starters, two very experienced guys leave the program last year. They're kind of young at the position overall. I'm not saying Frederic is going to start against the Gators. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is there's a good chance that as this season progresses, he's going to have an opportunity to be on the field to help Miami. And, of course, in terms of NIL, it's great to see that Miami continues to sign all of these important recruits. You can sign all of these guys coming out of high school, but ultimately they all want to get paid, and they're going to leave you after 1 year unless they've got a deal. The fact that Miami's NIL collective, Canes Connection, continues to sign these guys. And yes, is it risky? These are freshmen. What have they done? Blah, 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 blah. It's clear OJ Frederic is a guy that you want to keep in this class because the cornerback position is super important. You got all these defensive linemen. You got all these playmakers up front in the front seven. That's great. But what about the guys in the back end? I think Miami's been lacking there for the last several years. They're starting to get better. And I like OJ Frederic.
What do you think about the thought of some people saying, well, why am I going to pay a freshman? Let me just wait another year or two and steal them from somebody else after they've developed them for a year or two.
There's too much movement. There's too much player movement now. And I think all of these kids are looking for a reason to leave because there's people contacting them through back channels, right? There's schools that are reaching out, the poaching, the illegal tampering, all of that stuff is very, very prevalent in college football. Miami does it, Florida does it, Florida State does it. Everybody's trying to see how they can upgrade their roster. And the NCAA, in all honesty, isn't going to be able to get, basically punish people for what they're doing. They just don't have the reach that they need. So I think all this negotiating goes on during the season. People who sit here, like Mike Gundy comes out and tells the agents, right? Oklahoma State's coach says, stop asking us for more money. Well, there's a reason they're asking you for more money, Mike Gundy, because somebody else is offering them more to leave and to get in the portal and take off. So that's the crazy thing. We talk about the NFL. At least in the NFL, you have a contract, you sign it, you're basically under club control at that point. College football, not so much, brother. Like, they're going to catch you tampering in the NFL. Am I right or wrong? They probably just won't. They're not going to catch you doing it in college football. It's just a different system. So to me, I think until we get a little bit more modern, which, by the way, this year college football decided to finally put those walkie-talkies in the helmet, so at least the quarterback can talk to the coach. Mind you, the NFL's had that in place since, I think, 1994. So college football just caught up to the times 30 years later in terms of allowing.
Bro, they don't have a lot of money. Come on, give a break.
Right. They don't have a lot of money, sure. But my point is, if it took them 30 years to catch up to the NFL with helmet communication, I wonder how long they're going to catch up to actually tampering and having real contracts and everything set up. Hopefully it's not 30 years.
I think that because of the developments, they have the least amount of power they've ever had, pretty much.
Absolutely.
And they're almost at the point where they're not even needed anymore. Because eventually the two super conferences will probably just say, yeah, we don't need you guys anymore. We're on our own. And
yeah, I think that's where we're headed, which is why the FSU Clemson fight with the ACC is so interesting. I know there were some reports that came out yesterday about, them, Florida State and the ACC negotiating off the table. The bottom line is, until Florida State and Clemson can prove that the contract they signed with the ACC is null and void and that the grant of rights should be abolished, we're not going to end up in a super conference. Because right now, the Big Ten and the SEC have all the power. Why blow it up if you've got a good thing going, right? There's no incentive there to blow it up. The only thing that would blow it up is the grant of rights going up in smoke. So as we sit here and talk about money and NIL and recruiting, I just think, that pipe dream of a super league until one of these grants of rights, until one of these Supreme Courts says, we're gonna abolish it. It's just a bunch of hot air right now.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro, and make sure you visit our friends at the Big Cheese, 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue. You are going to love it. The baked ziti, the beef or the veggie lasagna, so good, man. The baked meat tortellini. The menu is second to none, and those garlic rolls are to die for. So visit the best. Visit our friends at the Big Cheese. Manny, have a great weekend, my brother. We will catch up on Tuesday.
All right, brother. Take care.
You got it. There you go. The Big Cheese, NIL and recruiting report.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!